ruling yesterday against the effort that Governor Glenn Youngkin's administration says is an effort to stop, non-citizens from voting. And they're wording this so carefully, but here's the bottom line. Youngkin signed that executive order, just to refresh your memory, back in August, that canceled the registration of 1,600 people so far. In many cases, they say registrations were canceled because, here's the thing, you know why they canceled the registrations? Because they checked the box at the DMV designating them as a non-citizen. Okay, so they went to DMV to get their driver's license or their state ID, and it says, are you a citizen of the United States of America? Yes or no? And they checked the box because they were being honest that they are a non-citizen. And so that means that these individuals are self-reporting as not being a citizen. I don't know how this blows my mind that, and you see the way that the so-called mainstream media is reporting this, saying, well, just because, it could be that those 1,600 people, what if they checked the wrong box? They checked the box. And usually at DMV, if something seems out of whack, they'll even say to you, if you're there, hey, you checked blah, blah, blah. Do you know that? So there's often a conversation with somebody at DMV. Do you know what I'm saying? That you have a conversation and they usually say, for example, that you need the birth certificate, you need all this different information, right? But with these people, they're saying, nope, not a citizen, not providing any kind of a proof that I would need, to be a voter. And yet everybody's pushing back on this. So this appeals court judge, and this, like I say, this went back and forth. It was Friday, then yesterday, and the appeals court judges are still backing this, saying it's too close. You know what their excuse is? Well, it's right before an election. So we don't want to reverse anything like this. That's their excuse. It's crazy. So the Virginia Attorney General, Jason Miyares, said he's filing this appeal with the Supreme Court immediately. So we got that going on. We also will continue. Greg Stocker, I don't know if he's going to stay here. We were teasing him this morning, Dan, that he had to do a marathon and just stay with us.
Yeah, for real.
All day. We're still on YouTube Live, and you can call 855-839-1210.
Thanks for making my life easy this morning, Greg, right?
And so and to my friends at the Halloween Best Ever, huge thank you for all of you. Usually we have 800 to 1,000 people come out. Thank you so much. As your donations are the wind beneath our wings at the Police Athletic League. And yes, I'm a board member there, but my son, Michael, also has volunteered. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Great organization. And we love Pat Malloy. We love, Peggy. We love all of our friends at PAL and all the kids. And of course, Bob Salerno, everybody. So great event. So much fun. I did not dress up. I had so many events I was running around.
Oh, come on.
But
you did dress up. You dressed up as Dawn Stensland from 1210 WPHT.
In my hot pink, because it's still Breast Cancer Awareness Month. But no, I think who won first prize? It was one couple I got a kick out of. They wore, so it was a husband and wife. He was the dog, like a Dalmatian. Uh-huh. And he actually, so he crawled, when it was pretty cute. And then his wife was Cruella. That was cute. I
like that.
It was like a Tim Walz and his wife combo, but it was cute.
Seems like there's some kind of, this underlying commentary going on there with that costume.
It was cute. It was a great event, and we don't do that enough in our society, but a fun Halloween party for PAL. You can always still contribute. And happy birthday to my sister Christine. By the way, just realized that my nephew, Riley Stensland, is good buddies with Scott Pressler. It's such a small world. And my nephew lives in Illinois, working for Republicans there. So I can't wait to tell Scott that. And Dan, did you have a good weekend?
I did. It was a really good weekend. We celebrated the father-in-law's birthday on Saturday. Went out to Estelle Manor Park out in, I guess it's Atlantic County, all the way near the shore.
Fabulous.
And then went down to Margate, right to a restaurant outside of Lucy the Elephant, and had a fantastic dinner out there.
Oh, that sounds
good. How was your weekend?
It's a beautiful weekend. It was a lovely weekend. We're looking at colleges. We got football. We got everything. Jimmy Kelly, did you have a good weekend? I miss Jimmy Kelly. Jimmy Kelly lately is working so hard that we don't hear his voice.
Here he is.
But we love you, Jimmy Kelly.
Yeah,
I will tell you
He's moving over to this microphone, yeah.
It's Monday morning. We got to do the recap and say hello. Good morning.
Jim, where'd you DJ this weekend? I know you did.
I didn't DJ anywhere this
Really?
weekend.
Okay.
No. It was just kind of a quiet weekend.
Laid back.
Yeah, kind of laid back. Went out and did some shopping a little bit. I had to go get a new mattress, so.
Oh.
A new mattress.
Wow, Jim.
This is,
Yeah.
okay,
I
you
hope,
wore
okay.
out your, that's a happy
You're
marriage.
going to the same
You wore
place
out
I
that
am, Don.
mattress. And the mattress, the old one was only
Hey, now.
like a year old. He's turning red. I'm sorry. And his mother listens,
And you could really see it in my face, too, because, this is like the one time I get a lot of color in my face.
Hey, now.
Red.
So, Jim, let's get into this mattress buy.
I mean, Bill Clinton envies you.
So
you
here's
know?
the thing. Now, I hope that when you went to go get your mattress, you bought a mattress. Me and Hillary, we bought a lot of mattresses there over the years, and we just love it over there. But you probably just went over to Raymore and Flanagan or somewhere like that. And not that you don't want to give a shout out to Raymore and Flanagan, but
Any endorsement from Merrill Reese? He gets out of the shower. Oh wait, maybe that's Kevin Hart, or is that Merrill Reese that uses the shower?
Well, here's the thing right now, and they were talking about Merrill Reese today on Kale and Company. Nick Kale was trying to imitate yours truly, Merrill Reese, but there's only one guy in Philadelphia. Well, there's only one guy at WPHT who does a Merrill Reese impression, and that happens to be Jim Kelly.
Oh, there you go. Look at that
Woo.
endorsement from Merrill.
I love it. Love you guys.
Well, he's got the Mummers music and all playing. He's like right on top
This
of
is
stuff.
awesome.
He's got the football music going.
Have a great weekend. Go mattress shopping with Jim Kelly.
I know, and we had so much fun on Friday with Friday's show. It was so nice to see Sean Farish in person, and all of you that came out. What a wonderful and you reminded me of it because a lot of our mummers were there and were
really?
like giving me
Were they
behind the
actually
scenes.
like playing songs?
They were not dressed as
Aw.
mummers, so they were undercover.
We need to
mummers.
do a 12 WPHT Mummers event,
I know, it'd be so much fun.
right?
Well, you could come to any Mummers event. I might be DJing on New Year's Day.
I'm sure 90% listen to 12 WPHT.
Yeah, I'm busy that day.
Yeah, somebody.
Little bit.
Wonder where you
Yeah.
are, Don.
Yeah, I think you and I think his name is Larry. You
Yeah.
covered
that's
the
the
parade.
person, yeah.
So we
Are
have
you guys doing that again? I'm sorry to say.
yes.
Is that like breaking news, or is that already?
No.
Okay.
No. It's
You guys
old
are
news.
I love waking up and watching you guys. You're
Thank
fantastic.
you.
Yeah, with
It's a
Mummers
highlight. We have so much fun, and it's really just a true celebration of Philadelphia. So we want to get into it. The Trump rally, Madison Square Garden. I thought it was epic. I want to hear from you if you watched the whole thing, or at least with Elon introing Melania Trump, and then Donald J. Trump. To me, it was epic for so many reasons. And then the vice president here yesterday in the Philadelphia region making 3 stops, including a Christian church where she was, preaching, and she was also heckled. So we have that going on. Another headline that we've talked about. Want to get your take on all of these things. The comedian's remarks about Puerto Rico during the Trump rally sparking backlash, and Puerto Rican superstar Bad Bunny signaling his support for Vice President Harris. So, unfortunately, it's what dominates the headlines today.
Did not have that on my bingo card, Dawn.
What do you mean your bingo card?
Bad Bunny offering
Bad
an
Bunny?
endorsement. Yes.
Yeah, I don't think that matters as much. It's just, to me, it's more about the fact that they had this epic rally and the campaign needed to lock that down. They had so many people there that were headlining. They didn't. Oh, is this Bad Bunny?
I hope it's clean though. It's a different language. So. Here's a clean version radio edit. Yeah.
Yeah,
let's
make
get
sure
some-
it's clean.
Yeah, sure. Some Bad Bunny going.
Bad Bunny.
I just don't know if that endorsement really moves much of a needle, does it?
No,
Well, apparently.
that's not the point. My point, and this is, I want to be clear, my point, though, it's not so much about the endorsement. It's the fact that they gave fodder to the other side to headline with something else, because otherwise they were forced to show the rally with all those people. I mean, it was unbelievable.
But at the same time, I mean, who's watching the rally, watching the joke, and having their vote changed? I think you underline a great point that the narrative that's come out of that is a joke about a comedian's Puerto Rican comment, and not anything deep regarding Trump or anything like that. They can't say anything bad about the Trump rally, so they have to focus on this comedian. I think that might be a net benefit, to be quite honest.
Yeah. I hope. I mean, how much do you think it resonates? 855-839-1210. the number to call. Of course, it's 8 days. Can you believe this? It's 8 days until Election Day. The news cycle is so incredible that it seems like our wonderful event on Friday morning it almost feels like it was a week ago. Because we're living and breathing all that's happening every day, 24/7. And by the way, yesterday, that great women's event and women supporting other women and girls, and that was in South Philadelphia. Riley Gaines was here. Tulsi Gabbard was here. Many other ladies in the House speaking. But just 8 days until Election Day. And former President Barack Obama and Bruce Springsteen, they'll join forces this evening for this concert in Philadelphia. Will Kamala Harris be here this evening? She will not be here.
No?
She will not be here.
What's the point then?
Do you think that's a misstep?
There's a bigger question. Will Dawn Stensland be there this evening?
I will not.
Oh. That's a bigger loss, to be quite honest.
I will not. No, they don't care. Believe me. They could care less. But why not? Why wouldn't she show up? Do you know what I mean? I don't know. It just seems, if you listen to the audio, I know we played it earlier, we'll get into it, but do you think that the Harris campaign looks desperate? What do you think is going on here? Or are Republicans just kind of basking in the glow of all of these events where it's a feel-good situation, but that the numbers tell a different story because, of course, Democrats outnumber Republicans? So let's take your calls on that. 855-839-1210. Jim in Haddonfield. You say what? Hey, Jim. Good morning.
Good morning, Dawn. How are you?
Good. Thanks.
Here's my question, Dawn. Do you think the Trump campaign managers, Susie Wild and the whole bunch, that they almost committed malpractice last night by not at least screening what that comedian said earlier at the rally last night? Because you know what? There are 400,000 Puerto Ricans that vote in Pennsylvania, and it almost seems like we give them a license to wake up and vote for Harris. And I can't believe that they did not at least go over what he was going to say, because I'm sure they would have blocked it.
Yeah, I agree. They should have blocked it. They should have. So did they not screen it? Did he? I doubt that he would have thrown that in after they reviewed it. So what was that? Was it an ad lib? So I don't have the answer for you. But to me, I mean, even many at the rally and different groups representing, Puerto Ricans for, let's say, Pennsylvania or whatever, they've come out and said we weren't offended and we know who this guy is, whatever. I'm just saying, if you're part of a campaign and you're 9 days before a major election, I'm just saying it's a campaign misstep. That's just it. And that's my take on that one.
I'll ask you and I'll ask Jim, though. I don't know. Like, I think Puerto Rican people are smart enough to see that this was a comedian making a joke.
Yeah.
I don't know if this really affects their vote that drastically, that this person... And again, Jim, I don't want to diminish your point that I think it was pretty stupid overall to have this comedian come out and Dawn 100% right, but I just don't know if this guy coming out making this joke about the Puerto Rican island and then Bad Bunny's response, if that's going to move the needle and get people out, Puerto Rican people out to vote. Do you think it does move the needle that much, Dawn?
It's if you're on a campaign, and again, so just think about the weekend. I mean, here we are 8 days out. What are we talking about? You have to talk about it. All the campaigns across the country, now it's like defense, offense.
Yeah.
So now they have to, instead of moving the needle forward and talking about positive things, they have to go back and clean that up. All the campaigns issued statements immediately. And so, because when I saw it, I was like, and the other piece of this I'm going to point out to you, so please let me know if you hear this, because this morning as I was watching at least one local station, what bothered me was that they were playing the clip of the comedian. I watched it live, and I remember thinking, this guy's flat. He's not getting huge applause. This crowd is like, meh, they were like, But then if you hear some of the clips, I think what went viral sounded like this huge applause for that joke. And I was like, I don't remember that. Then Greg Stocker played it back. And of course, he takes it from the original source because he doesn't get all of his news or clips from Twitter. And lo and behold, it was as I remembered it, where the joke it kind of fell kind of flat. It was kind of a mid response. Let's hear.
I welcome migrants to the United States of America with open arms. And by open arms, I mean like this.
It's not a huge,
It's wild.
thunderous.
And these Latinos, they love making babies, too. Just know that. They do. They do. There's no pulling out.
Oh, gosh.
They don't do that. They come inside, just like they did to our country.
Oh my gosh.
See, this is like ick. This is a family-friendly rally.
Republicans
like
are
ick.
the party with the...
Yeah.
I
mean, I can keep it going,
but you can hear the crowds like,
Yeah.
It's not. He's not getting applause. He's not. He even makes mention of that. If you listen, so he wasn't a hit with this crowd. But I told you earlier this morning on Kale and Company, I do watch him because he's associated with Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan does some of his live shows, and some of my friends as moms with their teen boys, they went to the show. And you put in for a lottery that you get chosen to go up and do a few minutes of stand up. So I was like, yeah, let's all go. And I'm going to get called. And then you boys have to stand up with me as I embarrass you. Like, oh God. But so I think he's funny in the context of his shows. But yeah, they should have done a better job of just screening this. By the way, if you didn't hear it, it was, it aired on Friday, my interview because Jim mentioned Congresswoman Susan Wild, who's the incumbent, and she's getting a run for her money against State Representative Ryan McKenzie, who I interviewed on Friday. So you can go back and listen to that if you want to hear what he's all about, and maybe it'll make sense to you. This is Pennsylvania's 7th Congressional District, typically Republican-leaning district consisting of Lehigh, Northampton, and Carbon counties. It is right now, according to the Cook Political Report, which is the Bible for elections, it's considered a toss-up. And so for, again, all of these local races, and that one, could it potentially help tip the House? It's not the one, but those races are so close to call that everybody across America who's a Republican, at this guy who didn't need to be at the rally, they're going, oh, come on, man. We just don't need any of this. Like, no goof ups. Everything's got to be buttoned up. Everything's got to be perfect 8 days out. And I'm sure both sides are saying that, quite frankly. All right. A Trump campaign, no matter what the polls say after this weekend, I would say even CNN, Casey Hunt, I saw her this morning on CNN talking about it. Definitely the one with the momentum right now feels like the Trump campaign. That does not necessarily mean a win. Nothing can be taken for granted in this very close election. 855-839-1210. So good to be here with you this Monday morning, and so much to talk about and so much developing today. You're not going to miss a thing right here on The Dawn Show. Be right back.
Hey, it's Nick Kale. You know how important online privacy and security is these days, and that's why I started using a new subscription service called Privacy Pro from DuckDuckGo, and I wanted to share it with you. It's a simple-to-use 3-in-1 privacy and security subscription service that has everything I need to feel secure online. Plus, it's from DuckDuckGo, so you know it is legit. With Privacy Pro, DuckDuckGo's VPN secures your connection anytime, anywhere. Second, it has identity theft restoration if your identity gets stolen. DuckDuckGo Privacy Pro helps you restore it. And third, personal information removal. This one really blew my mind. Have you ever searched your name online and noticed how many sites are selling information about you? Try it yourself. Privacy Pro will help you remove your personal info from these creepy sites so they can't share or sell it. How cool is that? So for $9.99 per month, you get a VPN, identity theft restoration, and personal information removal. Honestly, it is a no-brainer. And as my listener, if you go to duckduckgo.com/1210, you'll get an exclusive 7-day free trial on me.
See Joe Conklin with Norm Clark and Vince Valentine at the Sellersville Theater, Saturday, November 2nd.
Joe is awesome. Wonderful. Excellent.
Show was awesome. Merrill Reese was really funny. I thought the Charles Barkley stuff that he did was funny.
I actually looked him up online. I was kind of scared.
Oh, I thought it was great. My cheeks are still hurting from laughing.
I just got here. I didn't say it, but I heard it was great.
That's Conklin with Norm Clark and Vince Valentine at the Sellersville Theater, Saturday, November 2nd. For tickets, go to joeconklin.com. joeconklin.com!
Attention, have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10, $20, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-481-4455. 800-481-4455. That's 800-481-4455.
The 2024 presidential election is here. With the race neck and neck and with so much at stake, MSNBC has the in-depth coverage and analysis you need. Our reporters are on the ground, and we're breaking down the numbers until every last vote is counted, providing you with insight on what it all means for the future of our country. Watch coverage of the 2024 presidential election Tuesday, November 5th, and listen to MSNBC Live on the free Odyssey app or wherever you watch MSNBC.
It's lunch with the coaches. Walk the red carpet, enjoy a fabulous lunch, and meet and greet the Big Five coaches and other sports celebrities at the 12th Annual Coaches vs. Cancer Preseason Luncheon, Tuesday, October 29th at the Hilton City Avenue. Hosted by NBC Sports Philadelphia's Amy Fadul, with special guest panelists and Philly Hoops media legend Dana O'Neill. It's the Coaches vs. Cancer Preseason Luncheon, benefiting the American Cancer Society, Tuesday, October 29th. For info and tickets, visit phillycbc.org. That's phillycbc.org.
Are you working out, eating healthy, doing all the right things, but still not seeing the right result? Well, it could all be down to your metabolism. But now, there's a way of understanding how your nutrition and lifestyle fit into the bigger picture. Learn how your body shifts from burning carbs to burning fat for energy with Lumen. Go to lumen.me right now for 30% off. Lumen is the world's first handheld metabolic coach. It takes just a single breath first thing in the morning, and Lumen immediately analyzes your metabolism, telling you if you're burning fat or carbs, and gives you tailored guidance to improve nutrition, workouts, sleep, and stress management. There's no one-size-fits-all solution. Get something tailored to your body's needs with Lumen. Go to lumen.me today and get 30% off. Plus, listeners can get an additional 15% off by using promo code Radio50. That's promo code Radio50 at lumen.me to get an additional 15% off your first purchase today. LUMEN.ME, promo code Radio50.
Follow Talk Radio 1210 on Instagram and Facebook at 1210 WPHT.
Today, a declining quality of life coupled with economic instability makes it difficult for business to thrive. Crime is on the rise, while public safety diminishes, creating an environment where families with young children choose to relocate. And this story repeats itself from coast to coast across our nation. This is America.
This is America. It was a homecoming. And Melania Trump looking fabulous, as she always. I thought it was a great moment. Elon Musk is just so quirky and authentic, and I love him. And he was just taking it in. Then he intros the former first lady, and you see it. Here's this guy, he's the richest guy in the world, which you never think of that, ever, because he is this genius. I think he's probably also the smartest guy in the world, as well as the richest guy. But you see him, he's like sort of bowing and nodding. He's like this humble guy, and he's so honored to be there. It was a hoot. And then she, of course, with Trump.
It is my honor to introduce the First Lady, Melania Trump.
And he just like, he bows his head kind of. It was just sweet, but he's just so authentic. Just your take if you were there or if you watched. 855-839-1210. Mark in Lewes in Delaware. Hey, Mark.
Hey, Don. I just wanted to say real quick that I think that the media would have grabbed anything negative that they could get their hands on to kind of play down the rally. Because my wife and I were watching it yesterday evening, and I said to my wife, I wonder what they're going to find to pull away from the fact that Madison Square Garden is filled to capacity and there's people waiting outside.
Yeah. You make a great point that they were looking for anything, but why give them something? That's my only point. And it's a small point that I'm making because I do think overall, and I think you're thinking this, that in truth, this was epic. It was a huge crowd.
Exactly that.
Yeah. And I love.
Yeah, it was just. I'm sorry. It was just. I think you could have had two people protesting for abortion out front, and they would have focused more on that than the 30,000 plus inside.
Yeah. I love when you call and say these things because I hope you're completely right, but every vote matters. And so it was just, and this is not a criticism of Trump or even the comedian who made the joke, because that's what he does. It's with the campaign moving forward. This is my little message. People, get it. Just make sure everything's buttoned up. You don't want just anything they can talk about. You don't want to spoon feed them. But to your point, I will say they probably had very grumpy faces because they knew this was epic. And you couldn't ignore, Fox News was out there all morning interviewing people. You had people there from the night before, spending the night. And even though the people did not get in, they stayed during the rally. That was amazing too. And so they kept showing the crowds outside. It was like, oh my goodness, this was historic. And by the way, and I'm thankful for this, that MSNBC is getting fierce backlash for using, and this was a horrible thing to do. They used those Nazi rally clips during its coverage of the rally that was a historic campaign rally at Madison Square Garden. Shame on them. And it was, they included footage from the 1939 Nazi rally at the New York City Arena, which wasn't even Madison Square Garden. Do you know what I'm saying? It was horrifying that they did that. And in my opinion, that's an FCC violation. That was misleading the public, and that was horrifying.
Real quick, before I know you have to cut me off, I want to say it's amazing to me how much the Democratic side is twisting and turning to find any link to try and make Trump look fascist.
Yeah, and we talked about the Holocaust survivors who've come out for Trump, and the one gentleman calling Trump a mensch. It just doesn't work. It backfires. Thank you so much for your thoughts, and I hope you're 100% right. You know me. I'm a worrier and a warrior. Joyful warrior. 855-839-1210. Great guest ahead.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. For years, I've talked about the health benefits of Rescue Natural Supplements after making their omega-3s a part of my daily routine. From supporting heart health to providing pain relief, they provide essential nutrients that impact our bodies in so many ways. Listen to this recent comment from Carol. She says triglycerides are at an all-time low and increase my well-being, while joint pains and muscle aches have decreased too. People like Carol have trusted Rescue with their health goals, and now it's your turn. For a limited time, use the code OMEGA50 for an exclusive buy one, get one free offer on any of the 7 Rescue Omega-3 choices. To get this special radio offer, call 800-26-ALIVE, 800-262-5483, or use the code online at res-q.com, res-q.com. Remember, use that code OMEGA50, OMEGA50, to buy one and get another Rescue Omega-3 absolutely free.
Just hearing the word IRS can make people break out in a cold sweat. No one wants to deal with the IRS, and now you don't have to. The good news is Legal Tax Defense has been successfully negotiating with the IRS for more than 15 years. It doesn't matter how much you owe, whether it's $5,000 or $5 million. You deserve the best in the business on your side, and that is Legal Tax Defense. Even if you're working with someone else and just want a second opinion, there is no cost or obligation to call. They can prevent levies, liens, wage garnishments, even file back tax returns. And the best news about Legal Tax Defense is they won't take your case unless they know they will reduce or eliminate your tax debt. Call Legal Tax Defense right now for a free no-risk consultation. 800-253-6259. 800-253-6259. You have nothing to lose but everything to gain. 800-253-6259.
Hey, Ambler. We know your favorite station is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Follow us anywhere on the free Odyssey app.
So we want to take a departure from the day's news and really escape with a young actor who I'm now obsessed with. And this is Luke David Bloom. And this is incredible. This is really, well, I guess it's a show that lives up to its name. It's called Lost on a Mountain in Maine. It tells you exactly what it's about.
What's that
There's
about,
no
Dawn?
mystery here. What? It's not a mystery mountain.
It's about being lost on a mountain in Maine.
This is based on a true story of a boy, and you know I'm a mom of boys. If when my boys were 12, they were lost for more than a week on a mountain, I would be losing my mind. But welcome in to Luke David Bloom, who is the star. Hey, Luke.
Hi. How you doing?
Doing great. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning to you.
So this looks awesome. I love it that it's based on a true story, and maybe people don't remember the actual true story when it was in the headlines. You take us back as a 12-year-old kid. I can't believe you're a teenager and you're so young, but especially as being so young to have the presence and the talent and the star power to carry through on this. Tell me how it all came about for you, Luke.
First of all, thank you so much. That was very nice. And to actually answer the question, all this happened just because my dad was an actor when he was a kid, and I got lucky to be brought up around acting. And then eventually I started asking my dad to be an actor, and I was like, I really, really want to be an actor. And he thought, sure, I guess if it'll help him learn how to read, maybe he'll learn how to read if he reads the audition. Yeah, I was 8 at the time, and I could not read. I was horrible at reading. It was bad, but I'm better now, a little bit.
A little bit. You're very humble. So did you, I'm assuming you actually read the book, because this is based on the book by the same name, based on the true story. 12-year-old boy separated from his family by a fast-moving storm. And we think about, this is timely in the sense that right in our nation, we have heard about all the children separated from their family members just with the hurricanes fast-moving through the southern states, North Carolina, for example. But in this one, his family not knowing if he was still alive after 9 days and what he's going through in the backwoods of Maine. So how do you prepare for a role like this?
Well, a lot of it was preparation to get into the character, being that he was, a real person. I wanted to learn as much as I could about him, so I read the book, as you mentioned. It's a true story that was turned into a book. So I read the book. I watched a lot of interviews of him, and it was really interesting to see him. I watched a couple when he was a kid, and then he continued to do interviews as he got older. And also the script helped a lot. It was an amazing script. It was really good to get to know the character. Ryan, the producer, or one of the producers, he knew Don Sandler for many, many years. He was telling me about how he was. So that was all to get into the person. In terms of other preparation, I was running a lot to get skinny for this. I was supposed to be lost for 9 days, so I gotta be skinny.
Yeah, because a kid not eating for 9 days, surviving with that. I should point out that this was based in the summer of 1939. So going back to that period, was that a piece of this? Did you look into the time period and maybe relationships with how children were viewed, spoken to, maybe father-son relationships? Was that something that you wanted to focus on as well?
I'm so glad that you mentioned that, because that's such a big part of the movie is Don's relationship with his father. I actually think, despite, it being about him being lost, I think that's actually the main focus of the story is on Don and his father, which is actually really interesting because that whole thing comes entirely from interviews and Ryan, the producer, as I mentioned earlier, talking to the real Don Fendler. None of that stuff was mentioned in the book, which is super interesting. I'm excited that it gets to tell this whole other half of the story that's not known to people. Me learning about the time period was very important for that relationship because people didn't really talk to each other much about their feelings in that time period, especially father-son relationship. And after Don was lost, they became so much closer because they realized this could end at any moment.
Yeah,
you never know what's going to happen. So, they grew closer, started talking to each other more, and that happened in real life too. It's amazing.
Yeah, I love the idea of the father-son relationship, and right now, in the news, although we're escaping from the news, which I report on every day, right, which is oftentimes in the headlines, is negative. In this one, though, I will say that I think it resonates with people because there's so much in the news about young men, about boys and relationships and all of that. And in this one, that's why I saw some of the reviewers when they talked about being family friendly, and they were recommending that, hey, especially if you've got kids like middle school, like maybe 11, 12 years old through 18, this is something you want to, it's such an inspiring story of survival, but also maybe when you think about the relationships with parents, because, the comedians always say that everything that messes you up in life goes back to your childhood and your relationship with either your dad or your mom. And so this one maybe and maybe this one will spark those conversations between fathers and sons or daughters and mothers. Do you think that? I mean, what is your hope that people get out of this?
Yeah, I definitely think it will. I really hope it will. And I know that it will just because it has done that for the last, however long the book's been out in Maine. Don Fendler went around to schools. He went to middle schools, high schools, and spoke to kids about it. And he was so inspiring to them. And I think that this, in a world now that's super dominated by, media, I think that there being a movie about it will have the same effect as Don Fendler did when he was alive. And I hope that it just, it really brings that same energy back.
Hey, you're a young guy, Luke, and I got a question for you. Producer Dan here, Dawn's producer. And I look at your career. You were the son on The Watcher, playing Naomi Watts and Bobby Cannavale's son for Ryan Murphy. I mean, that's a big name there. You had King of Staten Island with Pete Davidson and creator Judd Apatow, and you had a great audition there. And that now, Lost on a Mountain in Maine, you're produced by Sylvester Stallone. So you've been around your career now, some huge names. I'm curious, if any of those big names, Sylvester being a producer here and Stallone having such a tie to Philadelphia, or Judd Apatow, such a big name in Hollywood, have you kind of been taken under the wing of any of these big names that you starred alongside or worked under?
Everybody that I've ever done any project with has taught me a lot. I think out of everybody, the person that taught me the most was the person that helped me the most, other than my dad, of course, who is more important to me than any of those celebrities combined. He, I think, was Bobby Cannavale, who played my dad in The Watcher. He taught me a lot we were filming that for like 6 months. So I was there with him the whole time, and we talked to him between scenes. And he's a very nice guy. He's great. And one of the things that he taught me was that it's always important to make decisions on camera because it just looks amazing and it makes you just so into it. And my dad always brings that up when we're doing auditions. So, yeah, he helped a lot.
If anyone hasn't seen it, go watch The Watcher. I highly suggest it. Really good series there, Luke. And also, I do suggest everyone go check out Lost on a Mountain in Maine. Sorry, Dawn, back to you.
Definitely. No, I think it's wonderful. It's great to talk to you and just the best to you. I'm just blown away by the level of your presence. And, you know, the thing with every parent thinks their kid is the most talented and all of that. But I love that it goes back to your dad and the fact that your parents believe in you so much and at such a young age. I think that most like 12-year-olds or you started out when you were 8. Most 8-year-olds do not get told by their parent, hey, you should go for this. If this is your dream, go for it. And that's just such a beautiful message, Luke. I love it.
Yeah, I have my parents to thank for all of this. They're really supportive, and that's the most important thing, especially when I'm gone for like a month and a half, sometimes like even in a whole different country.
Yeah.
It causes a lot. It's a lot of time. It's a lot of effort. It's really hard to deal with.
What grade were you in?
For me and
sorry. So what grade were you in? If you were 12 at the time, and how did that affect your education?
We filmed this over the summer, which was great for the movie because they didn't have to hire a tutor. And it's great for me because I didn't have to do school. So it didn't affect my education at all, which is really lucky. I filmed 2 movies over that summer. And there's some of my favorite things to film. I feel like partially because I didn't have to do 3 hours of school every day.
Well said. Well, Luke David Bloom, thank you so much for joining me today. Just really enjoyed talking to you, and I can't wait to see where you're going to go next. Thank you, Luke.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So it's, as Dan said, a Sylvester Stallone-produced feature, Lost on a Mountain in Maine. It's slated, by the way, for a release, November release by Blue Fox Entertainment. Pretty cool. I mean, this is something, it's, I guess it begins its theatrical run starting November 1st, which is obviously this Friday. This is cool, Dan. Thanks for setting this up. I mean, this is something I'll definitely watch with my sons.
Really talented kid and really cool relationships that he has and good stuff there.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you have any, it's Balboa Productions, right? Is that Sly is, do you watch the streaming show with him?
I watched a little bit of it, Dawn. I gotta say, I'm not a huge fan. Tulsa King, is that what we're talking about? Yeah.
You don't like it? I like it. I know it's kind of hokey. But it's like, I like it. I love Sylvester Stallone. Yeah. So it's kind of, I don't know, I just like it.
It's very hokey, and that's what it is. It's Sylvester Stallone playing a mob boss.
I know. But it's kind of, I don't know what it is. It's like, I just get a kick out of it.
Did you see The Watcher by chance?
Yes.
I loved that show, yeah. And also another show that kid was in, The Sinner. Really good stuff as well.
Yes.
Yeah. He played a son in one of the seasons.
Yeah. He's not, I would have, if I had had more time with him, he is not like your typical child actor who's on a sitcom or whatever.
No.
So he started out as a little kid, as a very serious actor.
Well, that's the thing is I want to know who's it must be his dad making these decisions because if you look at his filmography, it's all like, it's really good quality stuff.
Yeah. It's not like dopey.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So we got that going on.
Good start to a career he's got going.
Yeah. Amen to that. And besides that, he is really talented. So his parents weren't wrong on that one. Oh my goodness. I want you to escape with me to the Italian Riviera gastronomical event that only Conservative Tours can deliver. Join me for 11 luxurious days with the professionals from my friends at Conservative Tours, the best tour operator, hands down, in all of Italy. Trust me. A+ rating with the BBB, with the Better Business Bureau. What am I talking about? So this is totally different than the trip to southern Italy. If you join me on the Conservative Tours trip that we took last year in Italy, totally different here. We're talking Portofino, Rapallo, Santa Margherita Ligure, Tuscany, and the brilliant Cinque Terre. $53.78, and yes, $53.78 fully includes your airfare. Dining events at the wineries in Tuscany, and even an authentic farm visit to see Parmesan cheese being crafted by hand. Call toll-free, 888-733-9494. You can always go to conservativetours.com, If you scroll through, you'll see my name, my picture, and then you'll see the full itinerary and all the pictures of hidden Italian villages you've never seen before, like Giacomo Puccini, San Gimignano, the Leaning Tower of Pisa, Florence, and Milan. And then we will conclude on the Lakes region with Bellagio, Orta, and Isola Bella. Join me next spring in Italy. I'll see you in Cinque Terre. ConservativeTours.com. Make sure you tell them Dawn sent you.
Rich Zioli.
I do think it's badass that Andrew Jackson beat a would-be assassin with a cane. I think that is the coolest thing. I mean, come on. Guy takes 2 shots at him, the gun misfires both times, and he's like, that's it. Like, I wish to God there were cameras back then to capture Andrew Jackson pummeling this guy with a cane.
It wasn't even his cane. He took it from another guy. He was that upset.
Give me that cane. Starts beating the crap out of the guy. Oh, man. That's the best thing I've heard all day.
Rich Zioli, weekday afternoons, 3 to 7. Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and on the free Odyssey app.
You may have heard, Wawa has pizza. And right now, Wawa has pizza at a really great price.
Wawa has personal pizza for a night of gaming.
And it's only $6.
Wawa has pizza for when we don't want to cook.
And a 14-inch is $8.
Wawa has pizza for after practice.
A 16-inch to feed the team, $10. Right now, get a personal 14 or 16-inch Wawa pizza for just $6, $8, or $10. Wawa has pizza for all at a really great price.
Hey man, come here. You're not gonna believe it. I picked up this beautiful model. She's down here.
A model?
Yep, got her from the train store.
In your basement?
See?
Oh, model train.
Whew. Yeah, what'd you think I was talking about?
Nicholas Smith Trains. Become the conductor with any model you can imagine, from classics to new releases and holiday-themed engines. Don't forget to visit Nicholas Smith Trains and Toys this holiday season. NicholasSmithTrains.com.
Window Nation presents the 1210 WPHT Veteran Spotlight in partnership with the Travis Manion Foundation. Listen the first Wednesday of every month as Kale and Company shines a spotlight on a local veteran, highlighting their remarkable commitment to the community and their exceptional service in the military. Presented by Window Nation. At Window Nation, there's nothing more important than giving back to the communities we serve. For all of your window and door needs, visit windownation.com. That's windownation.com.
Wawa's Hot Turkey is back, and it's bringing the comforting flavors of the season with it. Sink into savory stuffing, cozy up with sweet cranberry sauce, and relax into some warm, buttery mashed potatoes. Grab your pillows and blankets, because Hot Turkey is back. Plus, get your cozy cravings satisfied from the comfort of your bed with $0 delivery when you order on the Wawa app. Try the Wawa Gobbler today in a hoagie or bowl for a limited time. Gotta have a Wawa.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-511-3535. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider, 800-511-3535. That's 800-511-3535. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with, call Big Lou at 800-511-3535.
Hey, Southampton. We know your favorite station is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Locally, the breaking news of the day is that, and you're not going to be surprised by this, but District Attorney Larry Krasner, Philadelphia, has filed suit to try to stop Elon Musk's $1 million daily giveaway to voters in battleground states, including, of course, here in Pennsylvania. Krasner calling it an illegal lottery that Krasner claims skirts state requirements and violates consumer protection laws.
So he will not be signing the petition.
So I guess not.
Does not like the First and Second Amendment.
Yeah, let's just remember what you do when you go to the site and it says, do you support the First Amendment? Do you support the Second Amendment? And please sign the petition. Then you electronically sign it. So this suit has been filed in Common Pleas Court in Philadelphia. The first legal action, because remember, Elon received a letter from the Department of Justice. So the feds started this. And so it's the first legal challenge that's, looking into this. And the Philadelphia Inquirer calls it a controversial sweepstakes launched earlier this month by Musk's America PAC. And it comes a week after the U.S. Justice Department.
We're giving away $1 million. It's so controversial.
It's only controversial because it is a Republican who used to be a Democrat. That's what makes it. If he were still a Democrat supporting Obama, like if he had done this when he loved Obama and he was a Democrat, because remember he was their darling, and he stood in line to meet Obama and he liked Obama, right? And he's a guy who talks about climate change, believes in environmental causes and cares about that deeply. And by the way, he's the richest guy in the world, and I think one of, if not the most brilliant guy in the world. He's an inventor. He's a futurist.
They make a daytime television show out of it if Elon was on the other side.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be like a competitor to The Price is Right.
Absolutely.
Elon gives away $1 million.
But obviously they're a little grumpy because after the Justice Department warned Elon Musk, the tech billionaire who just appeared yesterday. And that's why, again, this is all about them being grumpy that they have this incredible Madison Square Garden event over the weekend. So they want to start Monday morning. They just want to basically pee in your Wheaties. Excuse my, crass analogy, but that's what it is.
So you're telling me that Larry Krasner, DA of Philadelphia, is going to use Philadelphian taxpayer money to take on a billionaire over a personal beef, essentially?
Well, he claims that it's genuinely. See, and here's the other thing that I wonder. I would think that because Josh Shapiro was asked about this, and Shapiro had said that he would imagine, we played it for you, that he would, that there were things about it that appeared that they could be breaking the law, but Shapiro had said that he was pointed out, I'm not the AG anymore, I'm not the Attorney General. This would be something for the Attorney General to look into.
I think there are real questions with how he is spending money in this race, how the dark money is flowing, not just into Pennsylvania, but apparently now into the pockets of Pennsylvanians. That is deeply concerning. Look, Musk obviously has a right to be able to express his views. He's made it very, very clear that he supports Donald Trump. I don't, obviously we have a difference of opinion. I don't deny him that right. But when you start flowing this kind of money into politics, I think it raises serious questions that folks may want to take a look at.
So you think it might not be legal, yes or no?
I think it's something that law enforcement could take a look at. I'm not the Attorney General anymore of Pennsylvania. I'm the governor, but it does raise some serious questions.
And by the way, another reason the Democrats are grumpy this Monday morning, Washington Post owner Jeff Bezos is reportedly now directing the newspaper to add more conservative opinion writers. This after they said they're not going to endorse any more, presidential candidates anymore, ever, ever, ever again. And so they're very grumpy. They're grumpy, and this is how they're, going to do. But Larry Krasner speaking out saying he must cease. You will stop. You will stop right now. So far, Musk is ignoring it. And so we'll see where this goes. We're following it. And will this be yet another case that goes to the Supreme Court of the United States of America? Because I'm pretty sure Elon Musk can afford a good attorney or a few. So we'll have to see. If I could, I would just send Elon some delicious What-A-Crock meals, because he's on the road. He's a true patriot. I know. If I knew where he was, I would definitely send him. What would I send him, though? That's just it. Would it be, so I'm thinking of some of my favorite things. I think the Parmesan meatballs, which are my kids, my youngest son, David, begs, that's his ask.
Yeah.
Can you make those, Mom? Not that I would ever lie and say, "Oh, those are my grandmother's homemade."
Yeah, I made those from scratch.
That I made, because they are made from scratch and they are homemade,
They
just
taste like
not
it.
by me. Ha ha ha. But What-A-Crock's meals, they make dinner super easy. I cannot tell you how many times this has bailed me out when I didn't have time to go to the grocery store. And then here's the thing, even if you don't, because you get the box, I just got a box like about a week or so ago. So even if you forgot to put the meal in the crock pot, there's another option that you can just throw it in, because they put it in packaging. You could throw it into a pot of boiling water and it can be ready quickly. So you can either do the slow cooking option, or I should mention that if you need a bailout biggity big time, boom, whatacrockmeals.com. I can't even tell you how many times they bailed me out. So you just drop the meal into your slow cooker in the morning, go about your day, come home, and you walk in the door and it's like, oh, that smells so good. It smells like one of those candles that you buy that smells like something simmering.
Yeah, that pulled buffalo chicken candle. Yeah.
Like
the Swedish meatball candle that Yankee Candle has.
This is not the Gwyneth Paltrow candle, people. No chopping, no slicing. I'm going to get in trouble. You're going to get me in trouble, Dan. I'm going to go, it was Dan's fault. He did it, Mom.
No, to your point, though, some pumpkin bread pudding candles. It's great from there.
So good. So delicious. And What-A-Crock's meals make an excellent gift. So let's say you have a son, a grandson, a daughter. They've just gone off to college and they miss home. How about a taste of home? You send them What-A-Crock. What about, your goddaughter and her husband? She just had her first baby or second baby or third baby, right? Great gift, because they're too far away for you to drop off, a homemade meal. That one is perfect and they love it. So anybody who could use help in the kitchen, or maybe an easy meal, stress-free, it's just a wonderful, they love it. They're going to go like, oh my gosh, you're so thoughtful. And you did nothing except go to whatacrockmeals.com. That's it. And that's why I love it. It's so easy, and they do make it easy for you. So whatacrockmeals.com, make sure you tell them Dawn sent you.
With the federal government allowing over 20 million non-residents into our country to participate in social programs that they aren't paying for, the taxes on your portfolio are set to skyrocket.
Barry Kaiser. I started with Crash Proof Retirement in 2005. With this year's election, I'm concerned there will be continued high spending, providing opportunities for people who aren't even American citizens. Taxes would continue to go up and families would have a much more difficult time living. But I don't have to be concerned financially, because I've been through 2 market crashes since I've been in Crash Proof Retirement, and I have not lost a penny. With the Crash Proof Retirement system, I've earned over 10%. Once it is credited, you never lose it. With Crash Proof Retirement, I'm election proof.
Schedule an appointment or register for our next event at Springfield Country Club, November 20th, 800-722-9728 or crashproofretirement.com.
I'm Tahisha Way, New Jersey's Lieutenant Governor, with a message for New Jersey voters. You have 3 voting options in the general election. Vote in person on Election Day, Tuesday, November 5th. Vote early in person Saturday, October 26th through Sunday, November 3rd. Or apply for, complete, and return a mail-in ballot. Whatever you choose, vote by 8 p.m. on Tuesday, November 5th. Details at vote.nj.gov.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. I want to talk about my friend, dentist, and board-certified prosthodontist, Dr. Robert Bentz, and the Bentz Dental Group. With the cooler weather, it's a great time to stop procrastinating. Take care of your dental health. Plus, now's the best time to see a prosthodontist, especially to help with complications as we get older and help prevent major problems. Get the smile you really want. Take control of your oral health. Call the Bentz Dental Group, 610-272-6949. Visit BentzDentalGroup.com.
you have a property that you no longer want? Maybe you inherited the property. Maybe you're underwater in the property. Or maybe you're just a tired landlord, tired of dealing with tenants. Listen, I can buy those properties, and I'll buy those properties fast. I can close in 2 weeks. I buy properties cash. My name is Larry Steinhaus. Give me a call at 855-939-1137. That's 855-939-1137, and I will personally answer the call. You can also visit easyOutRealEstate.com. Hey, this is Larry Steinhaus from Investor Schooling. Did you know I have a radio show every Saturday from 1 to 3? It's called The Larry Steinhaus Show, and it's sponsored by Investor Schooling. On this show, you will learn things about finances and things about money that you never knew before. But even more of a reason to listen to this show is how much fun we have. If you haven't heard the banter between me, Omri, and Dr. Deb, you haven't heard the greatest show on earth. Listen to this show this Saturday at 1 o'clock right here on WPHT, and I promise you will learn something.
Philo's got a world of entertainment for you to explore with just one subscription. Sign up today and start watching all the networks you love, like A&E, MTV, Discovery, Lifetime, Hallmark Channel, and so much more. Featuring current seasons of all the best drama, true crime, reality, and family-friendly shows you can't afford to miss. Get started today and unlock our library of over 75,000 movies and shows. And save all your favorites with the unlimited DVR so you can rewatch them anytime, anywhere, for up to a year. Philo now includes access to AMC Plus. You can discover your next obsession from its collection of hit originals like Mad Men, The Walking Dead, Killing Eve, Orphan Black, and tons of blockbuster movies. There are no contracts, no commitments, and no hassles. For just $28 a month, Philo's a better way to watch TV. So what are you waiting for? Visit philo.tv and sign up today to start your 7-day free trial. That's PHILO.tv.
Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, WPHT-HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Live and local from Philadelphia. The Dawn Stensland Show on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
So the big news dominating Philadelphia news certainly is that DA Larry Krasner is now trying to say stifle Edith, if you will, stifle to Elon Musk. Yeah, good luck with that and your reaction, especially to Philadelphians with everything going on. And I mean, every morning, I start out at 6 a.m. reporting the crime here in Philadelphia, the unsolved crimes. Do you feel that the district attorney of Philadelphia should be focusing on something that even the governor, Josh Shapiro, had said, well, if anybody would look into Elon Musk's PAC and that $1 million so-called sweepstakes, it should be the attorney general's office. Is it the role of DA Larry Krasner, whose focus is supposed to be about Philadelphia, right? And pursuing justice in Philadelphia against criminals and keeping all of us safe? So that's certainly one question that I can pose to you, or perhaps my next guest, who is no stranger to politics. We have Congressman Dan Muser joining us now from Pennsylvania, somebody who was in the front row, in fact, of the Butler, Pennsylvania rally. My goodness, when shots rang out July 13th. It seems with our news cycle, Congressman, that happened. It feels like that happened a year ago. And you think about that, just July 13th, you were right there front row.
Yeah, sure was, Dawn. Hey, just real quick on Larry Krasner. Yeah. There's not a worse prosecutor, district attorney in America, perhaps. I mean, he's prosecuting they don't even give us the data anymore, less than 30% of the violent criminals. Just a few years ago, it was over 70%. So that and defunding and lowering the funding for police, that's why we have crime in our city of brotherly love. Philly's still my favorite city. Mm-hmm. I live up in the Wilkes-Barre area, but man, when somebody like Larry Krasner, and what he's doing is completely political. He's weaponizing his office. He's going after something that he shouldn't even be. He doesn't even have the jurisdiction for. That's what a louse Larry Krasner is. But anyway, yeah.
Just to let you know, even the Philadelphia Inquirer, to their credit, they are saying in their article, because this news is just breaking within the past about an hour, in the lawsuit, Krasner marshaled a, quote, novel legal argument seeking to block any further awards here in Pennsylvania. So even they acknowledge in the Inquirer that this is, they call it novel, and we can all interpret that word how we want to, but nobody's ever done this before, meaning there's no law that would allow him to do that, right? I mean, that's basically what they're saying.
Yeah. Right, and why doesn't he look into George Soros and all of George Soros is? Because George Soros bankrolls his campaign fund rather than going after a Trump supporter, Elon Musk. It's so darn political. It's sickening, and you know that's a big reason why we're going to win. And perhaps, frankly, Dawn, it was a reason that assassination attempt did take place. I mean, they're working off of scare tactics at this point, right? Kamala Harris saying how Trump's a fascist. And look, some comes from our side, too, and that's wrong. But it's not a consistent stereotyping, not just stereotyping, scapegoating of an entire group of people, meaning MAGA is somehow about fascism and taking over our government. But I was there that day on July 13th. I was sitting there with Dave McCormick and Mike Kelly, and bullets flew over our heads. I mean, we were right in that line of fire. I mean, they were obviously above our heads. And sadly, Corey Compertor lost his life. He was sitting right behind us. And frankly, those last words of Donald Trump, I thought maybe were his last. I thought he was hit more than once. When he said, fight, 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 I'm still thinking, where else was he hit? So it was very close to unbelievably tragic for the loss of his life and also for the loss of our political movement and the likely course of this country, because we're going to win Pennsylvania. We're firing on all cylinders. We got so many good things going, the metrics, every metric of the mail-ins, of the people turning out for early voting, for the number of feet in the field, if you will, that are still knocking on doors, and the Protect the Vote effort, because that's necessary. Let's face it, we just saw in Lancaster, 2,500, potentially all of them were falsified ballots, all with the same handwriting, or most of them with the same handwriting on that we caught. So, they're going to continue some of their antics. I'm not going to claim that there's fraud, but clearly there's some. We've already caught some. And, the ballot harvesting is illegal, and we got our eyes out. People engage in ballot harvesting because the Republicans aren't. They're going to go to jail. And we're working on that. And on that same note, I also sent a letter a couple of months back to Mark Zuckerberg, directly to him, saying if you pay for what we deem as we have evidence as ballot harvesting, you're going to be guilty as well. You'll be arrested as well. So, we got to take this stuff seriously. Campaigning's different than it used to be. We got to do all the other things, but we have to have a very analytical, investigative, close to the eyes on the counting. Yeah, and that's what we're going to do. Particularly in the Southeast, it's very important, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I do wonder with all of these cases, and I started out this morning talking about, in Virginia, that is now going to go to the Supreme Court of the United States, where non-citizen, that one blows me away, Congressman, because in that one, these people were honest. They checked the box at the DMV saying, I am a non-citizen. But then I guess they went ahead and still got to register to vote, which I don't even understand how that happened, because they would not have the documentation.
Yeah, there's a supremacy clause that says only citizens of the United States can vote. And we actually had the Department of Justice, the Biden-Harris Department of Justice, overturn what Youngkin was doing in purging. They somehow used a bad word, but correcting the voter rolls so as only citizens are on the voter rolls. And the American federal government Department of Justice forced them or is trying to force them to overturn it. It's absurd.
Yeah.
It's a weaponization of our court systems.
We're continuing.
Our legal systems.
Yes. And we're continuing the conversation here with Pennsylvania's 9th Congressional District Republican United States Representative Dan Musier. And I know that you're running against, or you're being challenged, I say, by Democrat Amanda Waldman. You have served on the House Financial Services, Small Business Committees. That's really where it is at, Dan. And as far as the vice president, she was here. She has tried to say that she in fact, is making all these promises to people who run small businesses. Take me through what you see, and if you think that's a trouble for the Republicans, that Veep Harris is saying, no, she's the advocate, the true advocate for small business owners.
Yeah, well, you know what? If any small business owner, whoever they are, actually votes for Kamala Harris, they should have their head examined. She is allowing the Trump tax cuts that were very favorable to small business to sunset, to expire. And these are very meaningful. They're in the neighborhood, in some cases, as much as 30% additional taxes will be paid on their net income, meaning small businesses' net income, if Kamala Harris gets into office. And then she tries to camouflage that with a big, I think it's $5,000 new business tax credit startup, which is foolish in itself, because anyone who's currently got a business, when it's that high, currently I think it's $500. They'll just start a new LLC. They'll just start a new company. They have no idea what they're doing in governing or how the economy works. We need to have competitive tax rates. We need to stop the heavy regulations that they continue to put on the shoulders of small business and large business. And she's already promising that we're going to have higher taxes. And what about the idea of 87,000 new IRS agents? Where do you think they're going to go? They're not going to have any new systems to have any better level of intelligence as to who's actually evading taxes, because that's what the crime is. They're just going to be doing drop-bys on small businesses. Small businesses are going to be under assault. And I know what I'm talking about. I was a former revenue secretary for Pennsylvania, and we did not go about gaining compliance by adding new agents. We went through it adding new systems, new intelligence, so we knew what we were doing when we showed up at somebody's door. This plan is just for 87,000 new agents to go out there and try to prove themselves and put some small businesses' head on their wall. She will be so bad for small business, but you know what? They don't care. They don't get it. I mean, between inflation, between the entitlements that they put out, which allows people not to work, to their trade ideas, to their taxes, to energy, their approach with energy alone, Dawn, is reason enough for anyone who cares about the economy not to vote for Harris-Waltz.
You and your wife, Shelley, I mean, congratulations, together for more than 3 decades, raising 3 children. I mean, what do you tell your family members when they talk about this with the economy, and especially with all the ads running? Because one ad tells you one thing, the next one tells you half of the ads are just factually wrong as far as this. What do you tell your own family about what's true with regard, especially with the economy, with this election?
Yeah. I tell them the same thing I've told them ever since they were little, because they're all in their 20s now. Seek the truth. Find the truth. I will never argue with you on the truth. You know, I'm Republican. I seek the truth. I don't believe ever do I advocate for a initiative, for a policy that is not in the interest of the greater good of all people, for the entirety of the economy and our country's national security. And get to the truth. I mean, lowering taxes is not about handouts to the rich. That's just absolute nonsense. If it were, I wouldn't be for it. It's for lifting up the economy. The heavy level of regulations are absurd. What they've done to our economy. So, to answer to your question, I just say keep digging for the truth. I'll help you get there. You'll help me get there. We have that conversation, and my wife Shelley is very involved. She was at the Madison Square Garden event with me last night, and she's on the campaign trail with me often. And she certainly gets a lot of questions on these issues, and she cares a lot. She cares about the future of our country, and one direction is big government, big spending, open borders. Assault on American energy to the advantage of countries like Iran and Russia, and crazy things like defunding the police, backing a guy like Larry Krasner, as we started here, and weakness and decline versus strength and prosperity.
Congressman Dan Muser, final 10 seconds here, but when you and your wife got back in the vehicle or back to the hotel after the rally, after experiencing that over the weekend in Madison Square Garden, what, just in a word or two or a sentence, what did you say to each other about that experience?
It was awesome. It just was great. There was so much energy. Everybody kept saying that, and it was true. I mean, there wasn't an empty seat all the way up to the rafters. And just excitement, and and nobody was leaving. Of course, Elon Musk was great. He was hysterical. I mentioned a little earlier on a radio show, Howard Lutnick laid out what America First meant, what Make America Great Again meant, and he just did it in such a clear, simple, common sense way. And he talked about trade and why the president's going to do great things. They go after him on these tariffs, but it all makes sense if you really pay attention to it. So it was exciting. Donald J. Trump was great. Melania was fabulous. I mean, there were some good speakers. His family, Don Jr. and Eric, and that says a lot. They're just great people. So it was it was really something. It's a shame. Frankly, it got a little bit tarnished. I mean, I put on the news this morning, news, the Today Show, and they're like just beating up over a couple of probably not very smart remarks from that one comedian, so-called comedian. Wasn't that funny? But
the crowd kind of was like, ugh. Listen, Congressman, you have been so gracious with your time. Really appreciate it. I'm glad you and your wife, Shelley, got to enjoy that last night. Wow. I'm jealous. Yeah. Congressman Dan Muser, thank you so much.
Thank you. We're going to dream big, as President Trump's theme was. So,
yes.
Dawn, thank you very much for all the time. It's a nice opportunity. Thanks.
Thank
Have
you.
a great
Really
day.
appreciate it. You too, as well. So we'll have him back and continue the conversation. So much to talk about, but I couldn't go. I would have loved to have gone. Initially, I had said, Larry, let's get hotel rooms and let's go, but we had too much with the boys. They're the priority. Yeah. And another priority is your privacy, right? I talk a lot, seriously, about DuckDuckGo. And one of the things is I subscribe. They have a newsletter. And sometimes I'll even use some of the news that they pass along in a newsletter that they'll email you about what's going on with privacy issues. But now DuckDuckGo is introducing Privacy Pro, okay? Privacy Pro, if you don't know what this is, it's a three-pronged approach. So it's a 3-in-1 subscription service that I want to lay out for you here. It includes DuckDuckGo, their VPN, plus 2 other important protections. So it's personal information removal and identity theft restoration. So what does this do? It helps protect your personal information from being exploited by the hackers, the scammers, the privacy invasive companies. How often do I report on this? All the time, right? This is an important time to get this. Okay. And so it's from DuckDuckGo, which I trust, and you can trust them. By the way, a local company, right, that started right here, and I think they're in Conchi. We got to meet all of them. Just great people who just are dedicated to making sure that your privacy is protected. So I do trust them, and I trust that it's a search engine that does not collect your search data. Their browser has features to help stop other companies that are going to collect your data as well. And here's the thing, that the browser and the search engine already have millions of users and thousands of 5-star reviews. They've been building privacy products, by the way, since 2010. So maybe you think, oh, they're new, DuckDuckGo. No. They've been here. They've been around. They've been trusted. If you remember when I was first starting out, I remember when we were in a different location, right, down in Old City, I would talk about DuckDuckGo to Zioli because, in truth, I had known about them for so many years, and we would talk back and forth about them. But they started in 2010. So you can access Privacy Pro through any up-to-date DuckDuckGo browser available on iOS, Android, Mac, Windows. You simply open the settings menu and then select Privacy Pro. This is important. And so you're going to always, here's my advice, avoid any guarantee of speed or performance, avoid the scammers, avoid claiming, when people claim that their protections are better than all the existing other products. They don't claim any of this if you notice it. They just give you the facts on what they do. So you want to avoid the scammers, right? And that's so important because there are so many scams out there and you never want to click on something. Even I did this today, by the way. Today, I had Jimmy Kelly had sent me something and I said, hey guys, Jimmy, did you send me this? Because it looked like a big attachment. Well, he had, because sometimes some of you want to pass things along, whatever, but you just want to make sure and just always be that skeptical user. And what I love about DuckDuckGo is the 3 added layers of protection that I feel like I get, right? And so that's so important. But Privacy Pro, this 3-pronged approach, it's a subscription service. It's awesome. So Privacy Pro, I wanted you to know about it from our friends at DuckDuckGo.
Rich Zioli.
Jimmy Fallon. Kamala came out with the Spanish accent yesterday too, trying to rock a little AOC. So I'm waiting for her to do an Italian accent and come out there and be like, "Hey yo, not for nothing, but the price of gabagool is too much."
Oh, that's funny. Depends where she's campaigning. Like if they do a Staten Island rally, you're gonna see that. You know how the old Italian men make up words? Like, hey, did you get a little botchka to go? Huh? You get a little scrabba to go? That's gonna be Kamala.
Rich Zioli, weekday afternoons 3 to 7. Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and on the free Odyssey app.
The following is a paid commercial message.
The world was a lot different in 2006. No smartphones, no electric cars. This is how we connected to the internet. And back then, Bob Casey wasn't siding with the far-left liberals. But nearly 2 decades in Washington has changed Bob Casey. Now, Casey's voted to let biological men compete against our girls in their sports and supported letting biological men into girls' bathrooms and locker rooms. Letting men change next to our girls? That's insane. Worse, Casey introduced a bill to force hospitals to perform sex change operations. Forcing hospitals to perform sex changes against their beliefs? What is Casey thinking? On top of it all, Bob Casey voted to raise middle-class taxes. Your family struggles, but Casey, he is for they, them. Bring normal back to Washington and fire Bob Casey. Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. SenateLeadershipFund.org.
It's lunch with the coaches. Walk the red carpet. Enjoy a fabulous lunch and meet and greet the Big 5 coaches and other sports celebrities at the 12th Annual Coaches vs. Cancer Preseason Luncheon, Tuesday, October 29th at the Hilton City Avenue. Hosted by NBC Sports Philadelphia's Amy Fadul, with special guest panelists and Philly Hoops media legend Dana O'Neill. It's the Coaches vs. Cancer Preseason Luncheon, benefiting the American Cancer Society. Tuesday, October 29th. For info and tickets, visit phillycbc.org. That's phillycbc.org.
With so much uncertainty in the world today, you may find yourself wondering, is now even the right time to retire?
And so many people are waiting, and those folks are going to be waiting a really long time, I hate to say, because there's no perfect time. The market is always unpredictable and volatile.
Fortunately, Jim Cipriotti has been helping get people to, through, and beyond retirement for over 25 years. And each week, he wants to help give you that freedom to retire. Listen to Freedom to Retire with Jim Cipriotti, Saturday mornings at 9 and Sunday afternoons at 5 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Keep free speech alive. Follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
So let's get into it. There's so much breaking. The big story here, Krasner. I'm looking for reaction from Elon Musk or Truth Social. Just trying to find anything on this case with District Attorney Larry Krasner in Philadelphia filing this motion in Commonwealth Court and essentially trying to mute Elon Musk, which, if you think about it, it's ironic, isn't it? That here's somebody with a PAC who's saying, hey, please support the Constitution of the United States of America, and in particular, the First Amendment and the Second Amendment, but the First Amendment, which is, first. And so it's just so ironic that I think this is going to backlash, because here's a local DA who is trying to say, I am trying to silence you from speaking about this. And I don't know, there's just, am I alone in this? Do you find it ironic that basically they're trying to stifle and silence Elon Musk from doing what he's doing? Now, I don't know, are they trying to say that he can't do this sweepstakes, that if you sign a petition. So there's no guarantee that you don't have to prove that you voted. It's nothing having to do with voter registration. All it says in there is, do you, because I did it at least once that I'll admit to. But if you signed up, you notice it said, do you support the Constitution, the First and Second Amendments? And then you push yes, you click yes, and then you electronically sign. And so I guess what they're trying to say, although there's no law about this anywhere, and geez, I wonder if that's why Josh Shapiro, when he had said it didn't seem like it was quite right, but he would just defer to the Attorney General's office and because that was like, what was that, a week or two ago, Dan? Do you remember?
That was the 20th that he said that.
All right. So, I mean, come on. I mean, so TikTok, I'm sure that if the AG saw fit, they would have done this. Did the Attorney General's office take a pass and say, there's no really, sorry, there's not really a law and we're close to an election? And so did they pass? Or was the Attorney General's office about to do something, and then Krasner thought that he was going to trump the AG's office? Because remember, they've all been in a little battle. Because remember they set up through the AG's office, to kind of circumvent Krasner, and Krasner was upset that his power was basically, he felt, being taken away, because now there's a special prosecutor that's going to prosecute, SEPTA crime, because there's too much SEPTA crime. And this is an issue, obviously, with the union that I've been reporting this morning that has done a strike vote over the weekend. And so they have about a week to get it together, people.
I do have the statement from Krasner's office.
Yeah.
It reads, Philadelphia District Attorney is charged with protecting the public from public nuisances and unfair trade practices, including illegal lotteries. The DA is also charged with protecting the public from interference with the integrity of elections. Quote, today, the Philadelphia DA filed a civil legal action under Pennsylvania law. The civil action neither precludes nor requires potential future action under Pennsylvania criminal law. Philadelphia DA will litigate the factual allegations and legal arguments that underlie today's filing on the record and in court.
Yeah, message to DA Krasner. When I drive into work in the wee hours of the morning and it's pitch dark and I'm coming through Philadelphia because I'm a longtime Philadelphia resident, I'm not worried about Elon Musk. Okay, when I'm coming in and I see some dude, and it could be hot, could be cold, and in a full hoodie and a mask, and not like a medical mask, like a ski mask, who's beelining for my vehicle. And I'm like, do I run this red light? Oh, please God, turn green. I'm not worried about Elon Musk. And the business owner who's working the overnight shift at the few places that still do the overnight shift, they're not worried about Elon Musk, right? You see somebody coming for your car with all the carjackings, they're not worried about Elon Musk. I don't think, is anybody worried about Elon Musk, especially when you come in on your overnight shift. And by the way, all the workers, one of the reasons that many of the workers told Mayor Parker when she made that, edict that everybody's got to come back to work and not zoom in anymore, a lot of people say, yeah, I'm worried about coming in. I'm worried about the crime. And so I don't think anybody anywhere ever said, I'm so worried about Elon Musk. I'm worried about that Elon. Not so much. What a slap in the face. By the way, Wawa, and they say it's other reasons. You know why Wawa left Center City, Philadelphia? All these beautiful, remember they had the main Wawa, that thing was gorgeous, and all around here. Why did Wawa leave? You know why? Because all their employees, who, by the way, they kept their jobs, they just said, no worries, we know you're threatening to quit because, you were harassed, or somebody sprayed the mace or pepper spray in your face, and you were robbed and you were scared. Don't worry. We're just going to transfer you to a different Wawa, and then we're going to build new Wawas that are, right outside the city border. So nobody is afraid of Elon Musk. And that, I feel, as a Philadelphia resident who pays taxes in the city of Philadelphia, I feel insulted that the district attorney, who's supposed to keep me safe, and by the way, what about all the Temple University students? And not for nothing, what about the cops? You know what I'm saying? What about all the cops here who have been attacked and killed in the city of Philadelphia? Nobody's worried. Here's how I'll say this. If you fear Elon Musk, 855-839-1210, I want to hear from you. Do you think you're going to get mugged or whatever by Elon Musk? Dan, are you scared of Elon?
No.
Does he pose a danger?
If I saw him on the street, I would not be afraid of Elon Musk.
I would be like, Elon Musk, can I get a picture with you? But seriously, it's an
Pillsbury
insult.
Rocket boy.
What's that?
He's a Pillsbury Rocket boy. I have a 1-minute clip. This is going viral now in relation to this lawsuit filed by Krasner. I can't decipher whether this is prior to finding out about this lawsuit or after, but it's words that Elon had that were directly related to Larry Krasner that might have triggered this lawsuit and or could be a response. Take a listen.
Yeah. Well, America PAC is kind of the anti-Soros PAC, you know. Something's got to be done about it. So it's like, I don't know what's up with that guy, but honestly, like putting DAs in, it's like the Joker's in charge, you know? Yeah. Like electing DAs that don't prosecute crime is insane. That's like literally like Batman Dark Knight. I mean, like, lock up the citizens and free the criminals. It's insane. It's happening. Yeah. I mean, like, what? This is total madness. So we need to stop that.
So you think maybe that like touched a nerve?
I could have. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what did you put it past Krasner to feel personally insulted, and that is what triggers this? Or do you think it's because it's Philadelphia, it's Pennsylvania, it's a swing state, that's why there's more? Like why, out of all these progressive DAs, why is it Krasner taking the shot?
Well, that's what I have to wonder, because I think Krasner is sensitive to the fact that Josh Shapiro, because there's a little head-to-head between Krasner and Governor Shapiro, and then the AG's office. And so I do have to wonder if this has to do with maybe Pennsylvania politics. The Krasner thought, no, I'm not going to wait for the Attorney General or the governor to say to the Attorney General, well, you should do this. I'm going to take the lead. But at the end of the day, does it make Krasner look worse? Because as the Inquirer points out, there's no clear law that's written about this. So that's the question I have. Is it even less about Elon, but more about Krasner making headlines and Krasner saying, I beat the AG to the punch? Do you know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of personal stuff going on, I think, between our local DA and the governor and the Attorney General. So that's my insight into it. But I think that Krasner loves that he gets this headline. He's the first in the nation, and he's probably encouraging other Democrats in other states, in other swing states, to do the same and to follow suit. And so he wants to be the first guy to do this. That's my theory. 855-839-1210. We'll get your thoughts, and as well our friend Linda Kearns talking about all things legal happening and even at the Supreme Court level. Hey, my friends at Piazza Premium Automobiles, they feature the very latest luxury vehicles from today's top brands. I'm talking about such beautiful vehicles: Mercedes-Benz, Jaguar, Land Rover, BMW, Porsche, Alfa Romeo, Maserati, and more. So these models have sleek new designs as well as innovative features powered by the very latest in technology. And guess what? Piazza has thousands and thousands of new as well as certified pre-owned vehicles, and they are available right now across their Pennsylvania, Delaware, and New Jersey dealerships. Piazza Premium Automobiles stands out. Visit PiazzaPremiumAutos.com, Piazza, PiazzaPremiumAutos.com. Tell them Dawn sent you.
After a cold start this morning, temperatures rebound to near average this afternoon with plenty of sunshine, high up around 64. Tonight, not as cold, mostly clear, low 48 for the city, colder out in the suburbs, and a warmer day on Tuesday with a mixture of sunshine and clouds with a high 68.
Revamp your living space with Emmons Remodeling.
Our seasoned designers and construction experts bring creativity and expertise to every project, ensuring stunning results for you and your family.
From new layouts to upgraded finishes, at Emmons Remodeling, we do it all.
So call us today at 856-885-6677 or visit us on the web at callemmons.com. From top to bottom,
to inside and out,
at Emmons, we have you covered.
Don't miss the Labor and Energy Show with J-Doc and Krause, brought to you by Advocacy United, this Saturday night at 6. Find out about the important issues that'll affect you. The Labor and Energy Show, Saturday night at 6 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Your 401k goes up and down. That's fine when you're 40, but not when you're 60. Find out how to protect your hard-earned money. Tune in to the Retirement Spectrum with Alan Cohen, Saturdays at 3 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
This is Jordan Lundy.
And this is Len Lundy. Lundy Law has won billions for our clients.
But more importantly, we've won the trust and confidence of thousands of people injured in motor vehicle crashes, slip and fall accidents, and work-related injuries.
My son and I hope we never meet you because of an accident. But if we do, we're here for you.
Remember our name, Lundy Law, your injury lawyers. Call 1-800-LUNDY-LAW or visit lundylaw.com for a free consultation.
Hey girl, it's your new night guy, Jimmy Fallon in the house from 7 to 10 p.m. on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT and free on the Odyssey app.
So it does appear that the Supreme Court, they are planners. Those, they're not only just great justices, but the Supreme Court, making room on their docket, knowing that they would get all these cases at the last minute. And it appears that this case where non-citizens, checked a box in Virginia saying that they are non-citizens, but somehow they still were able to register to vote. That's what it appears. It's kind of confusing as to me as to how they did that, but it looks like this is now headed to the Supreme Court of the United States and probably won't be the last. Let's get to our friend Linda Kearns to talk about, and Linda, obviously you are an attorney, you believe in election integrity and working for the RNC. What do you see today on the landscape with what's going on with the Virginia case as well? We have a couple of cases we've talked about this morning. We've been talking about all of them, but in Lancaster, and I know that Congressman Muser mentioned the 2,500 ballots. Are they put aside? What happens there when there's some discrepancies? Good morning, Linda.
Well, that's a lot of questions,
I know.
Dawn. How much time did you allot for
I know.
me?
It's like I just put out the buffet. Okay, go.
Okay, well, all right, here we go. First of all, I live in Philadelphia, and I'm a taxpayer, and I would rather my DA start prosecuting some crimes so that when I go into the stores, all of the shelves are blank, and the security guards say, "Well, we have a lot of shoplifting, and there's nothing that can be done about it." Or when I leave my car on the street, and I'm afraid it's going to be stripped. Or the opioid crisis in Kensington. I think that's a better use of my tax dollars than bothering Elon Musk, but. Hopefully the voters will also agree with me in 2025 when we elect a new DA. As far as Pennsylvania, well, I sent a letter to Secretary Schmidt this morning because, as I hope everyone realizes, tomorrow is the last day to request a mail-in ballot. And we've had a lot of voters going to the election offices all over the Commonwealth, requesting a mail-in ballot in person, filling it out, and returning it right there. I did it myself in Philadelphia. The problem is some of these election offices are getting a little bit overwhelmed. There's long lines. We've had reports that some of the election offices say, I know we said we're going to be open until 2, but if you're not in line by noon, maybe, we can't help you. So we're really concerned because we think this is a significant election administration issue, especially from an administration that touted this for months, if not years, about going and requesting a ballot in person. So because our voters were just running into all sorts of snafus, I wrote a letter to Secretary Al Schmidt this morning because Governor Josh Shapiro was able to post that he voted his ballot in Montgomery County, and it was so easy. He just walked up, filled it out, returned it all on site, and it was so easy. But the rest of our citizens aren't getting that experience. And Al Schmidt constantly talks about how he's a partner to the counties and how we have the fairest and freest elections. Well, he needs to make sure that voters who show up to request mail ballots today and tomorrow actually can get those mail ballots and vote them and not be discouraged like what we're hearing from some people.
Yeah, and I know Schmidt actually, I believe it was yesterday, appeared on Fox News talking about what Pennsylvania is doing to secure the elections. And he was asked about in Lancaster. So what's going to happen with those 2,500 ballots? Do they get reviewed? They get set aside? They are reviewed for their authenticity?
Right. So, Dawn, in Lancaster, those were not ballots. Those were registrations. That's what I heard at the press conference, and that's what I've read. What happened was the voter registration ended on the 21st, and a lot of times these counties get a lot of registrations near the end. And when Lancaster started reviewing them, they realized that some of these look suspect. Either the signatures didn't match what was on file, or they were duplicates, or they all looked like they were in the same hand, so they turned them over to the district attorney. So my understanding is it was 2,500 registrations that they rejected.
That is, I just misspoke. That wasn't what they were reporting, so I apologize. I reported it correctly all morning. I just misspoke just a second ago, so thanks for that.
Sure, of course. No, I just want voters, because there's so much information out there, Dawn, and I don't want voters to be discouraged. Your vote is going to count, and President Trump needs you to show up to vote. So I just want people to be really, conscious consumers of all this news and understand that we at the RNC, I represent the Republican National Committee. We are doing everything that we possibly can. I called Commissioner Schmidt out this morning. Josh Shapiro shouldn't have a smooth experience if the rest of the citizens aren't. He's not special. Everyone's vote is the same. So rather than going on TV, perhaps Al Schmidt should be supporting these counties and figuring out why they may have some trouble handling all of these people who are coming in to request mail ballots. He told people to do it, so he should be supporting those counties to make sure that they can follow the law. And if a voter shows up either today or tomorrow on time while those offices are open, they should be serviced. They shouldn't be told to go home.
So in something like that, if somebody, and I'm just giving a scenario on this to try to understand it. I mean, you are an attorney, but if somebody is sitting with you and they're helping you write out, I would just suggest people they should have gone online. As you suggested to me, I think we were on air and I said my one son, we realized he hadn't finalized. We thought he had, at DMV done it, but it was really easy to just go online. But I guess if somebody had by the 21st written something out, but if somebody's writing it and it's in their handwriting, but you're right with them filling out the voter registration and make the proper deadline, which was the 21st, is there anything illegal about that as long as the person actually, they would have had to have signed it themselves, right?
Right, but I think it raised a lot of red flags when they saw multiple with a lot of the same handwriting. Gotcha. And kudos to the election officials who were reviewing those and looking at them and saying, "Hey, wait a minute, are these real and valid voter registration?" So we're past voter registration now. Now we're on the request for the mail-in ballots, and tomorrow is the last day that you can actually request it. And at this point, if you request it online and then it gets mailed to you, you really better hustle, because we only have tomorrow. There'll be a week left. So if you don't make the deadline, then voters have to just go to the polls. Okay. And if the poll book shows that you requested a mail-in ballot, you won't be able to vote on the machine, but you will be given a provisional ballot to vote at the polls. And that ballot will be counted if, when we review the provisional ballots, it turns out that they did not get a mail-in ballot from you. So if for some reason there was a snafu, you didn't get to vote your mail ballot, you need to show up at the polls. You still have a chance to vote. Provisional ballots are counted if they're valid, and if the Board of Elections realizes that, and they can check, they know whether or not your ballot was returned. If your mail ballot wasn't returned, then your provisional ballot that you vote on Election Day absolutely will count. So I really encourage people that if they weren't able to do the mail-in ballot process, you need to show up at the polls.
And what's your take as far as the Virginia case? The report this morning was that it was, going to SCOTUS, but what's your take on that one?
Right. That case was filed, that has to do with the National Voter Registration Act. And what happened was, when Congress decided that all of these states had to offer voter registration opportunities at the DMV when you get your license, there was also this provision that, hey, you have to keep your rolls clean. And it sounds like to me in that case that the governor and the administration was working to try to get non-citizens off the rolls, those who had self-reported, it sounded like. And then the DOJ came in and said, no, you can't do that kind of, roll administration this close to the election. But what you can't do this close to the election, we have what's called a 90-day quiet period, is systematic voter roll maintenance. But if he was just removing citizens or non-citizens who reported that they shouldn't be on the rolls, there shouldn't have been anything the matter with that. So that's going to be very interesting, because that voter roll work, that's something that I do when we're not in the throes of an election. And it's very, very interesting because, we do have to keep our rolls clean, but we also don't want to remove people that shouldn't be removed. But every time if someone on the right tries to have reasonable procedures in order to keep our rolls clean, the left just screams and cries, you can't take people off the rolls. You can't take people off the rolls. But if you have bloated voter rolls, that doesn't promote a free and fair election. So that's where the tension comes in.
But Linda, if that Virginia case goes to the Supreme Court, and they side with basically Glenn Youngkin's side, which was, hey, if somebody self-reports as a non-citizen, they're thrown out, then that would have national implications, correct?
That would be good for those of us who do that kind of work, absolutely. Okay. And I know from my experience here in Pennsylvania, non-citizens have self-reported to Pennsylvania because we've had lawsuits here in Pennsylvania and we've gotten that in discovery. And, that's just an example of government policy that maybe was intended to be a good thing, like, hey, have everyone sign up to vote when you're going to get a driver's license. But the problem is, if you cast that wide of a net, and then these non-citizens get on the rolls because they're at a government agency, they're told to register,
yes,
they don't know any better, and that can hurt them later on. Now, here in Pennsylvania, because of my lawsuit with the Public Interest Legal Foundation, Pennsylvania did change their procedures at the DMV. So you're not even asked about voter registration unless you are a citizen. So they rearranged the screens and they rearranged their procedures. But these types of stories. While I love that people are really concentrating on this and paying attention, I just don't want any voter to be discouraged. Your vote is going to count. It's so important to go cast it.
Yes.
And if you go to the offices, you can look up for your Board of Election office if you want to try to go in person today or tomorrow. You can go to swampthevote.com to get the correct address. And if you don't make it for whatever reason, just show up at the polls next Tuesday. And remember, if for some reason they have a record that you received a mail ballot, then the polls are going to tell you to vote provisionally. That's okay. Fill out the provisional ballot. We'll have attorneys at the provisional ballot hearings to make sure if they're a valid
Right.
If they're valid ballot, they will get counted. So I really do want voters to have confidence in this program that the Republican National Committee has been working so hard on. And I have so many awesome volunteers. And of course, you spoke to some of my volunteers.
Yes.
So I just want to make sure that people know how hard we're working. And, the enthusiasm we see for Donald J. Trump at the rallies, like even that rally yesterday when people spilling over to the streets of New York, that's the enthusiasm I'm getting from my volunteers. And I really love that everyone is so committed to making this election free and fair. And the way we do that is we have observers everywhere, and we call our officials to the table, like I did this morning with writing to Secretary Schmidt. So hopefully he'll take a break from some of his media appearances and work on making sure that these voters are able to cast their mail-in ballot if they show up at these election offices today.
Linda Kearns, until next time, thank you so much. And thanks for taking us through those explanations. Really appreciate it. ProtectTheVote.com, SwampTheVote.com. Linda, thank you.
Thank you, Don.
Oh, the cool weather is here right now. Perfect time for me, at least. And that means it's time to take out my crock pot. Life is hectic enough. It can be difficult to find time to make a home-cooked dinner, right, for your family from scratch, from homemade every single day. Luckily, whatacrock.com's delicious, easy to prepare meals make it so simple. I just put one of their meals into my slow cooker in the morning, go about my day, which is busy, right? So sometimes I leave the house in the wee hours of the morning. It's pitch dark. Do that. But by the afternoon, like I'm picking up, David from football, whatever time that is, and late afternoon, we walk in the house. It's like, hey mom, what's for dinner? What smells so good? Here's the difference with this is unlike most meal kit companies. There is not any prep required at all. Okay. Because my husband did that to me before. He's like, oh babe, I'm trying to make this easier for you. And this box literally had like potatoes. It's like, honey, I don't need a box full of potatoes that I have to chop up in the, you know what I mean? Who needs that? That's not what this is. And that's what I love about whatacrock.com because they make it so simple. Like I say, just drop it into your slow cooker and voila, dinner, you're one and done. And I'm looking for fall comfort food, right? And so when I think about, well, the chili, they have so many different kinds of chili. If you like a spicy chili, maybe you want a vegetarian chili because you're hosting something or going to a tailgate and you're not sure who might have certain restrictions, let's say, or they don't eat meat, whatever, then choose. They have vegan options, or they have ones that have hearty beef and potatoes. You know what I'm saying? Or they have the barbecue, the pulled pork, or it's delicious. You got to go to whatacrock.com and check it out. There's no subscription required. That's important too. You don't have to make any kind of a commitment. So you can order exactly what you want when you want it. What a Crock Meals also makes for an excellent gift. So maybe you have a friend who, if I had Big Al's address, I would send, remember, because Big Al is recovering from his surgery and we have to find out because we've been praying for him. Like somebody, maybe a relative, they're recovering. Somebody who just had a baby, that's the best, and they're out of town. So you can't bring that homemade meal like you normally would to the family. Now you can. Anybody who could use help in the kitchen, somebody who's just a friend who's really going through a stressful period, a caregiver, make sure you use promo code WPHT at checkout. You get $10 off your very first order at whatacrock.com. It's code WPHT for $10 off your first order, whatacrock.com. Dinner made easy. Order now, whatacrock.com. Make sure you tell them Dawn sent you.
Feel like everything's clouded by doubt? Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com. Our psychics are available to talk 24/7, and we guarantee if it's not life-changing, it's free. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
I love this song! I love nachos.
Loving everything? You might be buzzed.
You know what I'd love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-837-5050. That's 800-837-5050. 800-837-5050.
Natural disasters happen every year. Fires, hurricanes, tornadoes. And with that, your most important moments recorded on VHS, camcorder tapes, and 8mm could all be gone in an instant. Cherished moments like your wedding, baby's first steps, family trips to Yellowstone, lost. Enter Legacy Box. Digitizing your old media with Legacy Box protects your irreplaceable memories from the threat of natural disaster by digitally preserving them onto thumb drive, DVD, or the cloud, so they're safe forever. Legacy Box is the safest and easiest way to preserve your past, which is why it's been trusted by over 1 million families. Send Legacy Box your home movies, photos, and film. Their team of trained professionals will do the rest right here in the U.S. For a limited time, Legacy Box is offering radio listeners an incredible 50% off. Go to legacybox.com/value and save 50% when you digitize your memories. That's legacybox.com/value.
Attention Medicaid patients.
If you're on Medicaid, how would you like if your caretaker was your daughter, your son, your grandchild, or your close friend? If you're on Medicaid, Freedom Care allows you to choose who provides your care, and that caregiver will get paid instantly after their shift. Yes, your caregiver will get paid instantly, and it's 100% free to you if you are on Medicaid. Call 267-692-3782 and ask Freedom Care how to get started with care today. No more worrying about getting care from an aide at an agency. Freedom Care helps you choose who you want to take care of you, and that person gets paid. Call Freedom Care at 267-692-3782, 267-692-3782 to get started today. You get a caregiver you know and trust, and they get paid instantly after their shift, and it's free to you. Start now by calling 267-692-3782, 267-692-3782, or go to freedomcare.com.
Freedom Care, we're here for you.
Listen this Saturday as Penn State battles Ohio State. Coverage starts at 11:30 a.m. on the home of Penn State football. Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
Window Nation presents the 1210 WPHT Veteran Spotlight in partnership with the Travis Manion Foundation. Listen the first Wednesday of every month as Kale and Company shines a spotlight on a local veteran, highlighting their remarkable commitment to the community and their exceptional service in the military. Presented by Window Nation. At Window Nation, there's nothing more important than giving back to the communities we serve. For all of your window and door needs, visit windownation.com. That's windownation.com.
Hey, it's Rich Ziola. You know that Dr. Mike Veneria is my friend. He's my dentist. He's the master of dental implants. Did you also know that he hosts an annual Veterans Breakfast every year to thank our men and women who have served our country? And he also hosts a free community shredding event so you can shred all those confidential, sensitive documents so nobody hacks your identity and tracks you down. Saturday, November 9th, Veterans Day weekend. Your opportunity to come out, say hello to our veterans, thank them, get some coffee, cake, donuts, even breakfast pizza. Breakfast pizza, what's that? It's a real thing. And if you've been thinking about getting that beautiful smile you deserve, reach out to my buddy Dr. Mike Veneria. For 12 years, he's been recognized among his peers as a master of dental implants. He's a guy who cares, he gives back to our veterans and our community, and he's my entire family's dentist. You won't be disappointed. So come out on Saturday, November 9th for the Veterans event and free community shredding event. Go to veneriadental.com for more information. veneriadental.com. I'll see you Saturday, November 9th at his Cinnaminson office, veneriadental.com.
I'm Tahisha Way, New Jersey's Lieutenant Governor, with a message for New Jersey voters. You have 3 voting options in the general election. Vote in person on Election Day, Tuesday, November 5th. Vote early in person Saturday, October 26th through Sunday, November 3rd. Or apply for, complete, and return a mail-in ballot. Whatever you choose, vote by 8 p.m. on Tuesday, November 5th. Details at vote.nj.gov.
Is thinning hair or a receding hairline making you self-conscious? Try Hair Grow from New Nordic. Stop feeling embarrassed about your thinning hair and start feeling your best with Hair Grow.
Be sure to follow Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
Yes, Springsteen in Philadelphia, singing and stumping for Vice President Harris. The boss, well, Bruce, will be in Philadelphia, and there's news today that, in fact, John Legend will join former President Obama as well as Springsteen, but Harris will not be here. That's an interesting one. And obviously, we've talked about the fact that the Pennsylvania mail ballot deadline is nearing. That was Linda's headline. And the gift that keeps on giving to one Dom Giordano. Dom, your favorite person is suing to stifle Elon Musk.
Yeah, he had to jump in. I think you're right. There's a lot of things to go and play with this guy. Ego is one. Dawn, on Friday, we had the breaking thing about the 2,500 and 3 counties with the voter registration fraud. Scott Presler was scheduled. He's here today. And so is the commissioner of Lancaster County.
Awesome. Well, it's a great Dom show. Stay tuned.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS,